Hello and welcome to another episode of Marketing for Financial Advisors. I'm your host today, Donovan Stull. Want to get into something that's pretty common in today's world for advisors is what topic do I select when I'm running an event? Well, I know so many advisors love to stick to one topic in their wheelhouse and that's it, right? They're either super favorable of taxes and retirement, or they just absolutely love Social Security, or vice versa, or I only like to do retirement planning events, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But as I have seen so many times over the years doing this kind of marketing, is that sometimes your topics just don't work the way that you want them to. Well, what do we mean by that? You got to think that throughout the years, throughout the generations that we're targeting, the specific demographics that we're targeting, there are going to be certain roller coasters of when topics work better than others, right? So for instance here, so take all of this, with a grain of salt, don't take this, totally to heart here. But for instance, the taxes topic, while we know it is important all year round, right? Everybody wants to pay less taxes in retirement. I don't deny that whatsoever. But during certain points of the year, the taxes topic to specific individuals they matter more during certain times of year, right? So think, for instance, when there's an election, when there's new people in office coming around, that's when taxes are really a high talking point. So in my mind, when I personally like to promote the taxes topic, it's usually anywhere between that September, October, all the way till about April, right around tax season. After that, we tend, not always the case, but we tend to see a drop off in the taxes topics after that point. Well, yes, some areas will still do well with the taxes topic, right? Taxes in retirement, understanding taxes in retirement, titles for their events, but we just see a drop off overall. Now, Social Security, on the other hand, typically you can run that year round, but we do see a greater pull for the Social Security messaging between late April, early May, all the way to August, early September. Well, why do you think that's the case? Because that's what matters most to people. So that taxes really kind of dictates how we run all of our events throughout the year. So think about it for a little bit. When you run a dinner event or an educational event and you send out a mailer, you stick to your topic and that's just it, right? If you say we're going to do taxes in retirement and we're going to talk about these 4 or 5 bullet points on how you can reduce your taxes in retirement, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we love it. You send it out. First event works out great. Second event, it's great. Third, fourth, fifth, great. I'm not going to stop doing taxes. That is perfect. We're going to keep on doing it. Well, now you get to that point where, hey, it's time for another event. Here we are in May, June, July. We're going to send out another mailer. We haven't done one in a little bit. We do taxes. And it tanks. You get no one to sign up. Well, is that to say that the date, the location, the time maybe don't play a factor into it? Of course they do. All those things play into factors. But maybe the topic itself was not as interesting or as meaningful to people during that time of year. So maybe think about doing Social Security. Now, I know what you're going to say, Donovan. Look, I don't personally like doing, and I hear this a lot, this is why I'm saying this, I personally don't like doing Social Security because it draws in the wrong crowd, people that come in that they just don't have enough assets, to work with me. And all they want to do is know how to get disability help or something of that nature. I understand. I hear it. I see it so often. These are conversations that I have weekly, and I completely understand where you're coming from. But that's not always the case. There are ways to certainly filter out who you want, of course, but that it's not, foolproof, that you might still get a few of those who just need our help, right? They're just looking for help on how they can, do those things. And that's fine, help them with the resources that they need. But overall, I really feel that you can change your topic over to Social Security or general retirement planning and still keep it focused on what you want to talk about. So for those advisors who say, look, we're only going to talk about taxes ever, that's fine. Have an understanding Social Security or Social Security and retirement title theme, but keep it tax focused. Now, we're not trying to do a bait and switch. Let me discourage everyone from doing that. Don't say, we're going to talk about Social Security. Everybody shows up and it is strictly taxes and retirement. Make sure you still do the presentation Social Security forward, but have it in your wheelhouse. I'll use an example. There's a well-known advisor out of the Chicago area, and he says, look, no matter what, I will always do a taxes presentation. If we're doing Social Security and retirement, it's going to be tax-focused Social Security and retirement. If we're doing general retirement planning, it's going to be retirement planning that is tax-focused. And then, of course, if we're doing taxes and retirement, that's our wheelhouse. That's what we like to do. But this advisor has learned that over the years, you can make those changes and still keep it what you feel best with. Don't feel like you have to handcuff yourself and say, okay, just because it's Social Security, that's all I'm allowed to talk about. That's all I'm allowed to do. And I'm just helping people file. No, that's not what we're trying to encourage you to do. We're trying to encourage you to open up your horizons there and don't feel like you have to be pigeonholed to only doing a topic that you think works best. Another really awesome benefit of doing your events in a digital space sometimes, you can change the topic whenever you like, right? As I mentioned before, if you send out that mailer goes out, it hits your 5,000 to 10,000 homes, and it's about Social Security, your tax to retirement, whichever, and it tanks. That's it. You don't get to get that, mailer back and say, okay, well, let's try a different topic and see if that doesn't get people to, be interested before next week. That's not how that happens. With digital, if you say, we're going to start this out as taxes and retirement, first couple of days go by and we have nothing. We have nobody registered. It's already spent a couple $100, not sure what's going on. Take the gamble. That's one of those factors that you can change right out of the gate. All right, it's no longer going to be taxes and retirement. Let's change this to Social Security and retirement, but keep it tax focused, right? Taxation on your benefits, or how people file incorrectly. Whatever topics, bullet points you want to add in there, that's fine. So shift your thinking a little bit. Let's change it. All of a sudden, maybe you do get people to start registering. Of course, the date, time, location could just be a part of it. Think about what's going on in the area, but that also, could be part of the factors that drive people away from actually registering for the event. But if you can change the topic and all of a sudden people start registering, what a wonderful thing, right? How awesome is that? We have many of examples in our office alone of when we've had to change up the topics and say, look, we're going to try and run it this way. We're going to try to run it that way. And it just doesn't start out that hot. All right, let's change up the topic. Let's see if doing it, this way instead of that way increases our numbers. And it works. A lot of the time it does, right? Sometimes people just don't care about the topic at that particular date and time, and that's okay. So don't feel like, well, if I can't run it the way that I want to, then I'm just not going to do it at all. Or I'm just throwing money away. You have that freedom and you have that option to be able to change those things. And as we're talking about these topics, though, and as we're talking about, what you can and can't do to get it just right, tinker, right? Tinker. Run mini ads before your actual seminar, to see what's going to get people, motivated. Is it taxes? Is it Social Security? Is it just retirement planning that they want to hear about? Kind of figure out what your audience is engaging with. Figure out what they like. Figure out the things that are meaningful to them. Think about the time periods, right? If there's something going on in the nation where hey, taxes are on the rise right now, and inflation and investments are all the rage, and that's all that people want to talk about. Go towards that topic. Or, you know what? We haven't heard about taxes in a while. Taxes are still just increasing, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. But those older ones who are able to get Social Security and they're really concerned about how that's going to look for them, talk to them about that. You have the options. So don't be afraid to tinker. Don't be afraid to try and choose what you think might work best. I encourage you, if you are comfortable only doing one particular topic, I encourage you, try a different topic. Open it up. If you see that maybe numbers aren't just working in your favor right now, try to open up and say, look, I'm going to try it this way instead. Instead of doing taxes, because that's always what I do, I'm going to try to do Social Security. No matter what my pre-reservations are about all of this, you know, open it up a little bit. If you think that maybe Social Security is, a negative topic, try to do it, but keep it tax focused if that's all you care about, or vice versa. Or let's just do it under the umbrella of retirement planning. That way, then we can talk about Social Security and taxes and whatever else you want to talk about in that. It really gives you that benefit and that option. Create your own PowerPoints and figure out what works best for you. I think that's going to be an awesome thing for so many advisors to be able to try to explore and try out. So don't be afraid to try something new. At the end of the day, if that's all you get from this podcast is try to do something new, do the uncomfortable, right? Don't feel like you have to be tied to the only thing that you've been doing over and over and over and over again, right? Well, fantastic. Guys, thank you so much again for being on with me today. Another episode of Marketing for Financial Advisors podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time.